Okay, everyone can hear me now. I would like to get started for those of you all who came on time, and we'll let the latecomers come a little later. I want to introduce myself. I'm Maura McCarthy. I'm the Queensborough Commissioner for the City Department of Transportation. I want to thank you all for coming out. I want to thank the Rock Association and community groups for organizing this evening. And I just want to go through the process for this evening. DOT receives lots of requests for traffic changes, whether it be please give me a stop sign, give me a traffic signal, or change the direction of my street, or make my street a one-way. We take each request, analyze the request, and then bring it before the community board for the community board to have a vote. So this evening is not a vote. This evening is just to give you a background of what DOT received, what kind of analysis we went through, and we presented this to your community board already, and the 84th Street recommendation went before the board, and they were going to vote, but postponed their vote for two reasons. One, because there was a feeling that the fire department objected to the change. They did not, and I have verified that, and I have it in writing. But the other was that the community didn't have a lot of input into the process. So obviously, people have reached out to you because you're all here tonight to hear about the two recommendations. I'm going to go through what requests we received, and I'll take questions and answers. This is not the public hearing, so you're not going to have 3 minutes to get up and speak. And the public hearing actually is taking place as it does with all traffic change recommendations at your community board on February 14th, which is a Tuesday night. It is, yes, it is Valentine's Day. You will have, if you do not agree to that date, you can certainly call your community board. That date has been set aside for a very long time. But this evening, I would like to just show you what we went through, what recommendations we made, answer any questions you might have. But before I start, can I just ask how many of you are from the Ozone Park area? And how many are from the Woodhaven area? Wow. I'm going to start off too. The first request I'm going to go through, I think, is a little less controversial. It's the recommendation to make 89th Avenue a one-way street.
You're mistaken on that.
And if whether you're for it or against it, I think going through how we got the request and the study we went through, and you know whether or not the community wants it or not, that is your decision. One good thing about both of these proposals, neither one of these is mandated to improve or because it's a high accident location. So this can be voted up or down by the community. DOT is not going to implement this over the objections of the community. We only do that if it's a big safety problem. Neither of these two locations are accident-prone locations, so this is really up to a community vote. Okay, so that's good news for you. Okay, all right. So I'm going to go through and this is really, really brief. If anybody looked online, I think they did a better job than what I'm about to show you. But I will go through a quick presentation. The cover here on the left shows 89th Avenue and a view of the school. Okay, so this is a view of 89th Avenue. This is an overhead view. Here is the church that we are in now. Here's CVS. To the right is Boston Chicken and the Laundry. Okay. I'm sorry, 84th. I said 89. Okay, so here's we received a request to convert 89th Avenue to a one-way street.
It is a one-way street.
No, it's not.
From Woodhaven Boulevard going east to 96th Street, where the school is, okay? That street is 31 feet wide. Parking is permitted on both sides of the street, so that only leaves 17 feet for two-way traffic. Now, minimum standard is 9 foot for a travel lane. So this is below standard, and that does exist in other parts of the city. But in the meantime, PS 306 open. So PS 306 currently has 360 students from pre-K to 4th grade, and they also have special ed students in that school. Okay, so this is the overhead Google map. I don't have any animation like Ed does. Here's 89th Avenue. Here's the school right here. If it were, we recommended an eastbound direction, which doesn't let you, as Ed pointed out, go all the way across, okay? Why did we recommend eastbound? Because the entrance to the school is on the south side of the street. So if this street is going to be converted, it will not be converted in a westbound direction where buses are going to drop children on the wrong side of the street, okay? So that is the reason why it was recommended in an eastbound direction. If it is eastbound, those people who want to get back to Woodhaven Boulevard will have to go 2 blocks to 97th Street, down and over to 91st Avenue. 91st Avenue goes all the way through, just as 89th Avenue does. Okay? This is, here, let me go back, okay? Here you go, 96, 97th, 98th. It ends at 98.
No,
Okay?
97th it ends at.
It ends at 97th Street.
Oh, it doesn't go through, I'm sorry. Okay, so it's just to 97, all right? So that's the proposal. It is a narrow street. We did recommend converting it to an eastbound direction, and that is what will be voted on by the community board with your input for and against. Now, most of the letters I have received, and I have received many, have been against. But the proposal we received was not just an idea of DOT's. We get suggestions from 1 person, 10 people, 100 people. We investigate it. We go back to the community board, and the community board canvasses the community and takes a vote. So that is the process we've gone through. Okay? This is just a little bit bigger map of what I just described, in case you couldn't see it in the back. Okay?
It's wrong.
Why is it wrong?
92nd Street is southbound, not northbound.
Oh, I'm sorry. This
So we
is
can't get into our block. If you change that, we can't get into our block.
90. If we change 89th Avenue to eastbound, we are not making any changes west of Woodhaven. No, we're not.
There is no left-hand turn.
I'm sorry.
There is no left-hand turn on 89th Avenue. If you're coming
Coming
southbound,
south.
yeah, you
Okay.
can't turn.
Okay.
We have to go all the way up to Jamaica Avenue, make a U-turn, come back on the service road to get into our block. The Google map and the DOT map is wrong.
Wait a minute. Wait. Oh, you're telling me I can't turn left here, right? Okay. So why? And today I can't.
One at a time.
Okay.
There we go.
Thank you. Okay, my name is Margaret Finnegan. I have lived in Woodhaven on the same block for 40 years. The direction has always been southbound from 89th Avenue. The Google map and the DOT map show that we're northbound. For us now to get into our block, if you're coming from the south, you have to turn on 91st Avenue, go up 96 past the school, make a left on 89th, and then across the boulevard. You can see on the map. This way, up, and across. When they change it, we will have to go all the way up and across. Or make an illegal turn up 91st Street from 91st Avenue, across 1 block, and then down our street. Now, the sanitation department does it. I don't have a big truck. I would recommend we have 89th Avenue going 3 directions. Did you know that?
Yes.
78th Street to 85th, you have to go up north to Jamaica Avenue. 89th from the boulevard over to 85th Street is going westward. And then if this proposal goes through, we're going to be going eastward. Whoopee! I would recommend, because they changed the signs in the middle of the night. We had neighbors who turned onto the block and got tickets. Now, I'm sorry.
No, it's fine.
I would recommend to the community board, change it entirely eastbound. If you turn it eastbound, the buses cannot park for 60 on 89th Avenue. But there is parking designated for those buses on 88th Avenue. And there is Equity Park there that they can park wherever they like, not on 89th. There's an apartment house right across the street, whereas on our avenue, we have houses. And if the buses keep their engines running, we get all that fumes. So this is a problem. I would definitely say, try it that way for a while. And if that doesn't work, I don't know.
With that one.
Or just keep it going
Two-way.
Yes.
You're not taking into account, whatever your study you did, you're not taking into account the logistics of the sanitation department, where you have all those one-way streets from 95th, 96, 97. What is the sanitation department going to do? Have to go back to Jamaica Avenue in order to come down the other street? When you did your study, did you take into account the logistics of what transpires in that area to make the traffic flow smooth? I mean, the sanitation department isn't going to be too happy if they have to go back to Jamaica Avenue every time while they have this has worked all these years and it's worked fine.
It's worked all these years. One reason that it worked is the sanitation department is making an illegal left turn on Woodhaven Boulevard to go down 89th right now. They go directly across traffic, where the DOT put up signs, as Ms. Finnegan says, in the middle of the night several years back, and all of a sudden we couldn't make that left turn on 89th anymore from the center of Woodhaven. But sanitation doesn't seem to care about that. They turn there anyway. Now, one other way you can do it, put a turning signal directly on Woodhaven Boulevard at 89th. So that we can then make the left turn. Sanitation would then be doing it legally, and we wouldn't have to worry about going all the way around the school. That one.
Was the study done when the school was
But that was my point that I was going to make.
Because I live on 96th Street and I can't get my truck out of my rented parking spot when the school's dropping off and picking up students, and if the traffic goes the other way, it's going to put cars triple parked on 96th Street, where I'm going to have to leave hours before the school opens just to get off the block so I can get out of my driveway.
All right, so that defeats what I was going to say. Because what I suggested was, keep it a two-way. Keep that a two-way, but you don't have parking over there between 7 and 4. When the school is in session.
No parking time on that sports
The bus can turn and drop the kids off at the school, but they have to drop them off at that door. Okay? Two-way street all the other time, between 7 and 4, nobody parks there.
Excuse me, Maura?
Yes.
There's plenty of people here that would like to get something across. Could you please explain what the advantage is to this change around?
Okay,
And who asked for it?
the community board actually asked for this a while ago, and then asked for it a second time. They usually make these requests on behalf of the public. I don't know who they made the request on behalf of, but we received it from the community board itself. Now, the advantage is because it is a narrow street. Many of your streets, as you know, are one way because the streets are narrow. So when you only have 8.5 feet for each direction, there's no way, unless someone pulls over, that you're not going to clip the other car. So,
But rather than reinvent the wheel, then just not have traffic on one side, or like the individual said, just during school hours, you can't park on either side. And you don't have to change anything.
Otherwise,
You can leave it alone.
all the school buses now onto 91st Avenue, and they now have to pass two schools St. Thomas on 88th Street, 87th Street, and PS 60 now to park. So all the traffic is going to be on 91st Avenue from both conversions, because you have the traffic coming up from 80th, 84th Street, and now you're having the traffic coming across. So 91st Avenue is going to become an accident-prone section.
Well, actually, 91st Avenue is 36 feet wide in this section here.
Not
so-
completely.
No, you're correct. I said in this section, which is where the diverted traffic would be.
Not when the school buses have.
Right. No, I understand your point, but it is a wider street than 89th
Not
Avenue.
as wide, not
It
as
is-
wide as 89th. 89th Avenue is much wider than 91st.
Actually, 91st is 5 feet wider, and we have measured it, than 89th. Okay, so anyway, this is a picture of 89th Avenue. You do have parking on both sides of the street. This is, you know, obviously a very quiet time of day. DOT could absolutely not let people park in front of their own homes, which I don't think the homeowners. Okay.
That's not 91st, that's 89th.
I just said, this is 89th Avenue, and the suggestion was made to ban parking on one side of the street. As you can see, this is a pretty residential block, and there may be areas where there are garages, but there are also areas where there are homes. Okay. Let me go one person at a time. Go ahead.
If you applauded that, you're really gonna love this part. Now, if you take a look on the street, and you look at the cars down here, I know you've measured all of it. I've driven down this all, many times. And you can see, I mean, there is plenty of room for two cars here. I mean, this is not, and like you said, this is not an accident-prone street. Now, the one area on the street that I think there is concern is nearer to the corner. And, just preventing parking just maybe 15 feet from the corner.
I live on 95th Street, which is a one-block street. You can't come off it, there's no street on either side, not on Jamaica Avenue, not off of 89th Avenue. Our only way into the block is 89th Avenue. If we're coming from the park, coming south, if they make this change, our only way on would be from 94th Street. If we're coming from the south, it would be from Woodhaven Boulevard. If the tree falls, if there's an accident on 89th and 94th Street, there is no legal way for us to get onto our street. It happens a lot. It happens all the time.
And during the hurricane, 2 trees fell on there.
Let me just reiterate that this evening is not for you to convince me. Okay? I am presenting to you the circulation pattern and the process we went through. The for and against needs to be presented to your community board, who will vote for or against this conversion. Okay? Okay, yes, sir.
I think both of the changes are a little bit myopic, because if you look just basically in those areas, some of it might make a little sense. But if you look at the neighborhood as a whole, Woodhaven is pretty much landlocked. We have a tremendous park that blocks out access into our neighborhood on the whole north side of the neighborhood. The only access we have to get in and out of the neighborhood, at least through the south, is through some of the other changes you're contemplating. And to get to any of the main arteries in and out of the peninsula, we would have to have as many east-west two-way streets as possible. To take away two-way streets just for the convenience of a block or two just doesn't really make a whole bunch of sense.
I agree that 89th Avenue at one point does narrow significantly. But 94th Street to Woodhaven Boulevard on 89th is a very short block. That block is sort of like pie-shaped, and there's a fire hydrant right on that side of the street from 94th to Woodhaven Boulevard. Make no parking there, so it's easier for the cars to make the turns into going towards the school. It's one short block. At the most, you can get 3 cars parked on that block, and that's it.
And paint the road, at least so you know that it's two-way. There's no paint in the middle of the block at all. So you put a no parking sign like she and Ed just suggested, and then paint the road yellow between 2 ways, traffic averted right there, we all go back home happy.
Okay, unless you object, I'm gonna move on to the next one. Okay?
Oh, you thought this one was bad, wait.
Yes.
Said that this is not where we vote, and understood that you're making a presentation. But since this is our neighborhood, and we would have to vote at the next community board meeting, why should that meeting be held in Kew Gardens?
I cannot speak for the community board. You have to raise that with the community.
Okay, great. The meeting is scheduled.
Why don't you use the microphone?
That's okay. The meetings are pre-scheduled a year in advance. We know these meetings in the community board a year in advance. This did come up for a vote. It's been tabled twice already. We tabled it because we wanted to hear from the public. That's why members of the community board are here tonight to take back what you guys are going to say. And on February 14th, it cannot be tabled again. It has to be voted on because we tabled it twice. So we're here tonight to listen and let you know we're going to bring your proposals back to the community board and let them know how the community feels.
Oh, okay.
And so how many members on the board actually live in Woodhaven?
Exactly.
Can you give me an honest answer?
Yeah.
How many of the board live in Woodhaven?
Yeah.
About 12 to 15.
Really?
Yes.
Well,
Maria Thompson is here.
I mean, no, I'm just saying, as far as the
There's
fact
another
that we
member of the board here.
want this to remain the same.
And I'm from Ozone Park on this side. I'm here. We're
There's a
here.
number of the members of the board here, so we are representing.
Our district leaders here, Mary Ann Carey. We're here to listen.
Yeah, but we were under the impression that we were going to take a vote tonight.
Excuse me.
We were under the impression, and we distributed flyers under the impression we were going to take a vote tonight. You guys postponed the meeting twice for a vote. You weren't expecting that many people to come.
No, we were
last
expecting
time.
this many people. We
No,
were.
the last meeting you were.
No, I was too. I'm against it, so.
Okay. We're all here to do something. We're not here to sit here to talk. We all work and we're all tired.
Go ahead, sir.
There may have been a lack of communication on the number. Does the Department of Transportation understand, though, that even if the vote were to proceed as it's supposed to in the community board, and these were voted in the affirmative to make the changes, that there will be a whole bunch of people suggesting back to the Department of Transportation that we either reverse those changes or make other changes? Is the DOT considering that when they present this to the community board?
I've heard a lot of alternatives to this change. Now, will any of these alternatives be considered as well as this change for a vote? Because I think you have a lot of legitimate alternatives to that change that would accomplish the same thing you want to accomplish. But we have to have those alternatives recorded and then also presented to the board.
Thank you.
Take 87th Street back to
Well, why don't I, we received many requests, and before we even study a request for a one-way, we won't study it unless the community board says, okay, you can study it, because we don't want just one person asking us, okay? We will, though, if someone asks for a stop sign or a traffic signal, study it if it's just one person, because it's so safety related. But one-way streets impact the whole community. So I did hear a lot of alternatives, but I did hear people say just leave it the way it is. So I will tell you that my feeling is that this particular recommendation or proposal, or whatever you want to call it, will probably not be passed. I don't know, but I'm going to guess that with all of you here. We would not continue to study alternatives unless requested. So it will stay the way it is unless people want us to take another look. And we will willingly do that. And we don't walk away from community requests.
Can you pull up
If you have to take another
So-
look, can they maybe come down like at 7:30 in the morning when all the school buses are dropping off all the kids, or the parents are dropping off all the kids, and you have all the traffic trying to get onto Woodhaven Boulevard from 91st Avenue to get to work?
That
would
is-
be a great time for
That
them to
is
come
when
down
the
there.
study was conducted for school drop-off and pickup, because we know that is the most congested time of day. Yes, sir.
Let me ask you, because I believe the Department of Transportation is an agency that's paid by taxpayer dollars, which means that the information that you guys obtain in your studies should be a matter of public record, if I'm not mistaken. So through a FOIL request, I'm sure that I can obtain this information, and I just want to confirm that with you, because the reality is that it seems that the study was maybe, for whatever reason, just totally off. I mean, you've got this many people opposing it. Clearly, there's not only an issue with the supposed changes, but there's an issue with your study. So if that could be, maybe we can exchange information.
You can absolutely foil anything that the Department of Transportation does. Yes, we are a city agency. I will tell you that, we'll give you the statistics. I'm here because I want to share with the community what we went through. I'm not trying to hide anything. Okay, so I'm going to, sure, go ahead.
You stated that the DOT was considering these changes because of letters you received, and you explained that because of how narrow the street was, it wasn't conducted for two-way traffic. But you received letters from the community asking for this change. I'm assuming somebody in this community is here tonight. Please don't be afraid.
Find out where they live.
We'll get them later.
I can explain that very frequently when a new school opens and congestion occurs, we very frequently are asked to consider one-way conversions around schools. I don't know if that's why it was requested, but I can assume or infer that's why it was
What
requested.
happens to walking your child to school?
Parents have jobs.
Okay, I'm going to move on to the next request, which is reversing the direction of 84th Street. As you know, in 2009, we actually got a request to make it a one-way. It used to be two-way, right outside of the church here. And it also is a narrow street, and DOT recommended the direction that it is now. The day that we converted the street, we received many phone calls asking for this particular section from Atlantic Avenue down to Liberty to be reversed. It was not acted upon for a couple years, and we recently brought this back to the community board for consideration. As Ed so aptly pointed out, there's only a couple ways in and out, north, Woodhaven Boulevard. This is 84th Street, and this is 76th Street. Okay, these are the only really north-south streets in your neighborhood. This little circle here, I just wanted to point out that 84th Street does go north-south, but there's a little jog here, which is a little strange. You come to a little T. This is the street going north. You make a right turn, and then you make a left turn before you go north. Okay? And it's just a little weird. I just wanted to point it out. It's not really. Hold on. It's right here. It's a little jog. Okay? Yeah. Right. Okay. So anyway, if we were to reverse this direction, this fully north through street would be lost. Okay? You would still have Woodhaven, which people really think is very...
Not from Liberty Avenue, you cannot access Woodhaven Boulevard from Liberty Avenue. You cannot.
That's correct, you cannot. Yes, you're right, we did.
What about 76th Street? Remember before when you were saying about narrow streets?
Yes.
76th Street, which would be our only other northbound alternative, is extremely narrow. It's two-way with parking on both sides. So you want to take away our only one-way safe northbound street when there's already two safe southbound routes, 87th Street, 94th Street, straight southbound. You want to take away our only safe northbound route.
And if you try to turn on Atlantic Avenue, let's say you get to 76th Street, which is your only access, Rockaway Boulevard and Atlantic Avenue is extremely treacherous intersection. It's extremely large, there is not enough walking space. I won't even go into the concrete barriers that prevent people from walking and crossing in time.
Okay.
So,
All I'm suggesting or stating is, we took a look at it. Oh, thank you, Father. We did take a look at it. It is possible to convert it. We would not do it over the objections of the community, but I do want to point out that there are large portions of the community too that used to turn left here that cannot directly go left. The people.
They turn left, they have 86.
We have one.
Okay. Okay.
We have one.
Yes.
The 84th Street is a highly trafficked area. People from the Belt Parkway proceed west on North Conduit, make a right on 84th Street, and those people that live in Woodhaven that have to take the Belt Parkway, that's been a route for 50, 60, 70 years for some people. That's the only route that we have to go from North Conduit to get into Woodhaven without going on the mess on Woodhaven Boulevard. And your only other alternative would be, we would have to go to Liberty, make a left and go to 76th Street, because clearly you can't make a right because Woodhaven Boulevard has the barriers. And 76th Street is smaller than what 91st Avenue and 87th Street was. It's even worse, and it's two-way.
And parking both sides.
And there are thousands of cars, literally thousands of cars in a 24-hour period that take 84th Street, probably more than most roads in Ozone Park, clearly because it's the only safe mode we have to get across Atlantic into Woodhaven without traveling.
The idea, first of all, to change 87th Street was not a well thought out or conceived idea.
We did not consider changing.
No, I'm just saying in the first place. But if you are a business on Jamaica Avenue, and the only way that your customers can get in currently are from the south, because there's cemeteries and schools to the left, a park to the top, and no way to come in from the right because it's pretty much a small one-way street community, you're not going to be very happy about this. This is a major artery to bring business onto Jamaica Avenue, which is currently a very vibrant commercial district in a very hard economic times. It really does not make much sense. And my question is, can you pull these requests? They have to vote on it, but can you pull these requests?
I cannot withdraw a request that I receive from any member of the community. The member of the community can withdraw the request, but I cannot. Yes, ma'am.
There's another, I don't know if you're taking this into consideration if you went down this far. 76th Street, yes, going north-south is a very narrow street. It is also already an accident-prone block. I live on 75th Street, and there are at least 3 accidents per month where there are numerous ambulances and fire trucks, etc., where you can't even gain access to 76th Street for hours. So then, what happens if there's even an emergency somewhere else? If 76th Street is now blocked, you've basically blocked the whole neighborhood from anybody being able to access it. And that, I think, you really need to take into consideration because 76th Street is already an accident-prone location.
We actually did review this with the fire department because at the last public hearing, someone said the fire department was opposed to this, and the fire department was not opposed to this, and we did review with their central city planning and with the borough commander before we came back to the community board.
Did you check, like, the East New York Fire Company that responds?
We checked with the city planning of the entire city fire department, who then reached out to the borough commands before we came back to the community board.
And I'd like to say one thing about that. I've been to the firehouse 4 times on 3 different shifts. The firemen at the firehouse are absolutely against this, but because they're city workers, they cannot come here and say anything because they feel losing their jobs. But I will let you know that phone calls were made in other realms where people were told that they can't show up to the meeting because the firemen were coming tonight. They were told this morning they cannot come and give their opinion. But off the record, I believe that 84th Street is their only safe mode to cross Atlantic when they get dispatched out and to come back. And they did say it will hurt response times. Not greatly, but even a little, for me, it's too much.
Well, at the community board meeting, I'll make sure I have a representative of the fire department to speak on behalf of the fire department. Yes, sir, in the red shirt.
Yes, I think it was 1936, when we had the World's Fair here, it was decided that even-numbered streets would run northbound, odd-numbered streets would run southbound. Is there an overwhelming reason to change this?
Yes, I'd love to know the reason. Because clearly this is not a public safety issue. Because if it was about safety, then we can install speed bumps as they've done on other streets throughout the city, and we can maintain speeds on that block. But clearly this is obviously...
This was not a speed analysis. It is not an accident-prone block. It was a request from the community
It was a request by the manager of Boston Market.
It was a request by the community to check out circulation and if it would be negatively impacted. We did a study and did not believe that it would be negatively impacted.
Can I say
Yes,
something?
sir.
Me? I'm a member of the Woodhaven Volunteer Ambulance Corps, all right? And when they changed 87th Street, was it how many years ago? That screwed up our response time in and around this neighborhood big time, okay? Many accidents aren't major, where you don't have helicopters and thousands of fire trucks.
Right.
But it will block traffic, and it happens, okay? Fender bender, you go off, you change your, you trade your information. Stuff like that doesn't go on the fire department database unless an ambulance is called or a fire truck is called. That is never documented, but we've all seen how many hundreds of accidents in this neighborhood in the past several years. There's many of them, but they're not violent or catastrophic enough to show up in a study like this. But having driven the ambulance, the volunteer ambulance myself, it's, no matter how loud your siren, no matter how bright your lights, you cannot go against traffic. It's hard.
Yes, sir.
Are you making a change so the people can get into CVS and Boston Market, so to make it easier for them to get into their parking lot?
Am I making a change? No, I'm not. I'm proposing a street change direction that the community will vote on. So the community can vote for it or against it. Yes, sir.
Alex Lincoln, Woodhaven Residents Block Association. 2 quick questions for you. I heard it from that gentleman. I'd like to hear it from you. Who proposed this second change?
I received this request from an elected official who is no longer in office. And we completed the study, and I have many comments on it this evening.
Thank you. My second question. You said that Community Board 9 conducts a canvassing of the community. Other than Community Board 9 members, who in this room was canvassed by Community Board 9? Raise your hand, please.
Not me.
None of us.
In that case, Commissioner, it seems like perhaps the canvassing method needs to be redone and the proposal redrafted by the
isolating Woodhaven from Ozone Park, change on 87th Street, which was a direct route into our community, out of community, and into Company 293 at the farm. They said nothing because of the fact that they had intended to close into Company 293. So they held mute because they were going to be closed anyway. But hey, we showed them, we opened it up again. So therefore, 87th Street was really the problem. Now we have only certain blocks of access back and forth from Woodhaven to Ozone Park. This is one of them. If we close this off, we might as well isolate the two communities forever.
Yes, sir.
Yes, you said you had received this request from an elected official who is no longer in office.
And has been supported by other elected officials also. Now, let me just say, you're welcome to copies of our letters. You're welcome to copies, you know. And again, let me reiterate, this is voted on by the community board. We look at things upon request, and the community boards vote for or against.
But we want to know what
Yes.
elected official requested this.
Is the DOT
It's not a complex question.
Is the DOT aware that if they went on the NOAA's website, that there is a floodplain that basically ends at Atlantic Avenue? So anything south of Atlantic Avenue is considered a flood district, a level 1 flood district, and that if you're in a level 1 flood district, you need to get out of your community. Was that taken into consideration when we started to send traffic in the direction of a flood district?
No, actually, this is already so long it's off the screen. Evacuation routes, as you know, are Woodhaven Boulevard, are the highways. It's not 84th Street. So no, it was not considered as part of the flood evacuation. Yes, sir.
Thank you for your patience, sir. We really appreciate it. Thanks for everyone for coming out. On an overview, historically, these two communities have a relationship that, that depends on being able to cross the border. And, the way I describe these two streets, 84th and 87th, is like two doors of a supermarket, entry and exit. And what we're proposing to do here is to close one of those doors. And it's not going to help either community. And face it, we all cross this border. We use each other's churches, libraries, children go to each other's neighborhood schools. And what I see this change doing is turning Atlantic Avenue from a border into a barrier. And that's I guess what I'm not hearing here that I heard on 89th Avenue was, I heard on 89th Avenue saying, well, it was a narrow street, so this is why we considered it. I'm not hearing if there was a reason why. It was just that this was proposed.
Oh, the reason why it was considered, the day that we converted, I received a lot of objections and asked for this one section to be reversed. One was for the businesses. One was also for people who wanted to go southbound. So it is a community. It wasn't just one person asking. Yes, it was the businesses. I'm sure the church would benefit if people turned down the block. So does it impact DOT to reverse it to benefit the community? No. But if the community does not feel they'll be benefited by changing it, and they vote it down, it's not a big deal.
You said two things. Yes. Two things I want to bring up. One, you said that the community, certain community residents, the day it was changed to northbound, sent in letters. Is there anybody
I didn't say letters. I said I got phone calls.
Okay, but is there anybody here that made one of those phone calls? Because I'd like to know what one resident on 102nd Avenue and 84th Street made a phone call. Is there anybody else here? Okay, guys. And my second thing is, listen, we're going to vote February 14th. I'm going to tell you this right now. There's pressure on both sides, but there's also phone calls being made to some board members, do this, do that. You guys have to speak up. If you don't speak up and you don't tell the rest of the board members what you want, I cannot convey that message. And number two, I'm going to say this and I'm going to put it out there. The night that we voted, we asked a direct question to the Woodhaven organizations, and we said, does the Woodhaven organizations object to this? And they said no, they were in favor of this. And they
Let him finish.
Can I finish?
I'm on the board and we did not.
It's all of, I didn't say you. She knows what I mean. It's on the agenda and it's in the minutes and you'll see it. So this is a surprise for a lot of people. This is a surprise. No, wait a minute. Can I finish? This is a surprise to some of us because, Maria, you did state that night that you had no objection. So I'm surprised. It's in the minutes.
Check the minutes.
I'll bring them to you. I'll bring them to you.
I'm gonna wrap up this evening. I think that you understand the process that DOT has gone through, and the vote will take place on February 14th at the community board. I'm not here to, hold on one second. Yes, Marianne.
I just want to tell you that the community board will be holding a public hearing on Tuesday, February the 14th. That's our regular meeting night at Kew Gardens Community Center. That's already been on our agenda. That's why we could not make any last minute adjustments. And we'll be voting on and reviewing the conversion of 89th Avenue from a two-way to a one-way eastbound from Woodhaven Boulevard to 97th, and the conversion of 84th Street from a one-way northbound to a one-way southbound from Liberty Avenue to Atlantic Avenue. So if you're in favor, I want you to know that I got about 60 letters in opposition to this conversion through email and through the phone calls, etc. I have them here this evening. And also, if you want to testify, please come to that meeting. We will be holding a meeting. If you want to speak, you certainly can speak. And just come down to the community board.
Where is it? Address, please.
It's 80-02 Kew Gardens Road. It's across the street from Queensborough Hall at the intersection of Queens Boulevard and Union Turnpike.
What time?
There is a municipal parking garage behind Queens, no it's not. There is a two-story municipal parking garage that's open. It is behind Queensborough Hall.
At what time?
Marion, the time of the meeting? So it begins at 7:45, the public forum, followed by items on the agenda. Yes, ma'am. I'll be right with you, yes.
I live on 102nd Avenue between 81st and 84th. If I go to the church on 86th Street, if I go to 88th Street or come back to 80th Street, it takes me 9 blocks to get into my house. And it would be convenient for a lot of the people, but it would all save a lot of mirrors on cars, because the mirrors are being broke on 84th Street, right and left. I don't want to oppose Woodhaven, I know you keep it too long. But the people from Woodhaven are not going to come to CVS down here, and they're not going to go to Boston Market. Yes, we They have their own.
Okay. All right. Thank you for your comments, ma'am. Go ahead, sir.
Mr. McCarthy, you said that a vote in Community Board 9 would occur pursuant to a proper canvassing by Community Board 9.
No, I didn't say that. I said the community board does its own canvassing. I have no role in that. I don't know how they canvass or if they canvass. They will be having a vote on February 14th.
How much
They
public...
couldn't produce anything.
How much...
They could not produce anything. They said there were surveys done.
Okay.
And I asked for them, and they have not produced them.
How much public objection does there have to be to a proposal before the DOT decides not to pass it along to Community Board 9 for a vote?
That's a very good question, and certainly this evening has pointed out the outreach or lack thereof on my agency's part. We typically do not, for short stretches of street, reach out to a large community. We rely on the board to do that outreach, and maybe we will rethink that process going forward.
There's a disconnect there.
Yes, sir.
Just a point of information. Obviously, what is happening here tonight is a result of a lack of communication and/or outreach or whatever you want to call it. But the question is, when a request comes into your office, how do I, as a community member, know about it so that I can voice an objection? Before, let's say you have done your survey and gone to the community board, I mean, if something like this had come up and we knew about it, let's say, the day after it was put on your agenda, and all this kind of, uproar happened, you probably would have killed it right then and there. Or at least looked into it more thoroughly. And said, is it really going to benefit that many people? Or is that many more people going to be hurt by it? And we could stop it right in its tracks, rather than it go on for a couple of years, and then have to come on, have to get down to something like this. How can we see what you guys are working on?
We actually make presentations to the transportation committees before we go to the full board. Those agendas are available publicly, I believe.
Where?
I will.
If I may.
Yes, sir.
The reality is that they are available publicly on the City Council's website. They have a calendar there, but unfortunately, the majority of citizens aren't even aware that this website exists. And before I myself had come into contact with people who work at the City Council to find that information out, I didn't even know it existed. So there should be some type of email listserv or a mailing, a certified mailing that goes out, or maybe somebody needs to file a resolution or something, because clearly there's a major lack of communication. And obviously there's a better communication tonight, because as you can see, look at how many people showed up. Council.nyc.gov.
Say it again, please.
Council, COUNCIL.nyc.gov. And when you click there, you can click on the calendar and look for the committee here. She's speaking about the Transportation Committee, which is located in 250 Broadway downtown. And the majority of us work, and they have these meetings during times where clearly we're not going to be able to make it. So obviously there's a major lack of not only communication, but accommodation.
Accessibility.
We, the neighborhoods, we're the ones that are ultimately going to be affected, not the DOT.
Each community board also has a transportation committee. Yeah, go ahead, Marianne. You want to use the mic, Marianne?
No, that's quite all right. I think I can speak loud enough. The community board has a mailing list of over 900 individuals. Now, you all know that the mayor has cut our budget drastically, but it has not affected our mailings, which we do send out regularly. Every month, we mail out to over 900 individuals. And for this meeting, anybody that called us or emailed us, which I have here, got a response as to the time and the place of this meeting. This meeting was not the community board's hearing. It was the meeting of the Woodhaven Residents Block Association. Our meeting and hearing will be on February 14th. And February 14th at 8002 True Gardens Road, which is our regular meeting location. The meeting locations go out a year in advance, that we choose them. We have not been able to find a meeting location in Woodhaven along Jamaica Avenue. So if anybody has any information of a meeting location for us,
excuse me, you
please
said
let
that
us know.
meeting is at 7:45. Is that AM or PM?
No.
That would be PM.
Community board email address, if you want to take this down. Our email address is communitybd9@nyc.rr.com. And I have here about 70 emails that were sent to us tonight in opposition to this change that we have. I have here, can you repeat that? Community what?
Community BD9
at nyc.rr.com.
Mary Ann, are all those emails going to make any impact?
Well,
do you think?
I do so. Look, the community board generally goes along with the community. So the community, and certainly by this evening's meetings, has shown that they're opposed. I can't speak for the community board, but I can tell you they will certainly take this into consideration. And I'm here, Maria is here, I believe there are other members of, Joan, Camp, Sam, there are a lot of members of the community board. We will certainly make your position known at that meeting. So if you want to come, you certainly can come, but be certainly aware that the community board certainly represents the community's opinion. So,
and another question, is there a time limit for the speakers?
Usually we give them 3 minutes. That's enough time. Yes.
At the last meeting, I suggested that before any street changes are made, or any type of placement of homes, new homes, that you have a community meeting, hearing, in the community affected. So if we had a meeting like this, before we even put it on the agenda to have a hearing at community board number 9 for a vote, we would have had a lot more input. So that I think that this, in the future, if we're gonna have changes in streets, we should have a community meeting and the community affected prior to the community meeting or the community hearing at the community board.
Right, well, as you know, Maria, that's for the community board. I'm the employee of the community board. I am responsible for doing what the community board instructs me to do. So you are the people that are in the community, you have to let the community board know.
Well,
As they say.
as a member of the community board, I will propose this at the next meeting, because I think that when you're affecting an area with drastic changes, especially in traffic patterns, you should come to the community first, before you have hearings at the community board.
Assembly Member Miller. Yes, sir.
Sorry, for all the people against this, and if you're gone, not being inconvenient.
That's right.
Postpone it another month to somewhere that's more convenient.
I'd just like to say one thing. I am a Woodhaven resident, and the only way I found out about this proposed conversions was by sitting in church in St. Elizabeth's, right here, reading the two-line little blurb saying that there's proposed street conversions. I live in Woodhaven. It affects most of us, but I found out about it by visiting St. Elizabeth's.
I also want to thank the Daily News. It did appear in the Daily News twice, you know, not only today, but over the weekend also. And I do want to thank Ed. His little animated PowerPoint was very impressive to me also at DOT. Look, I know that you believe that there wasn't enough outreach. I really, really do appreciate that all of you have come out to voice your concerns. We do want to hear them. I don't want you to think that we turn deaf ears. We try to do outreach. We do post our presentations on our website. And, you know, I do value your input, and I believe that the community board certainly has heard you this evening. So I want to thank you for coming. Yes, ma'am. Okay, I'm going to wrap this up. There really isn't a lot more information for me to give you unless you have a question.
Donate a bus to bring the people.
Sure.
Does anyone drive a gold Honda
So thank you
Odyssey?
very much for coming out this evening.
A gold Honda Odyssey?
And I want to thank the church too. This was donated space, and I want to thank the church.
Bye. Nice to see you.